Now we've started the recording. And as you know, this is a telepathic function we get into. The more people are experienced, the more they're into it immediately because it's not something they really need to learn how to do. It's something we all know. It's just not taught openly in any way on earth. So people are not, it's like exercising a muscle that's all limp because they don't use it. It's like faculties that are dormant that just aren't even known they exist. They don't get used. They're there, but on people on Earth, they're just shut down or ignored, or they don't even remember where they are. So this is one of the first things we have to do is get a little fear out of the way along the way, so that they can come forward with some courage, which they have, go on a journey like this and begin to change. Let's see. Does anybody wish to have any insights into or wish to offer a place where they would like to go on this journey? In general, doesn't have to be specific. And if you don't come up with anything, that's okay too.
I'll just leave it to you.
Excuse me?
I'll just leave it all to you.
Oh, okay. Well, of course, it's not always up to me. It's up to the omnipresent
Well, yeah.
the guys that all connect together and add their brilliance and wisdom into all of this. I always spend some time before each journey contacting them, inviting them as if it's the first time I've ever invited them, each and every time. It's respectful. It's the way it should be. All right, then I will mute your mics. You can always unmute them if you need to, but we'll get a better recording quality this way. Ask yourself why the hue as a chant, I guess you could call it. It's much beyond that, but why it works. Or how does it work? As we know, it comes from the first half of the word human. These languages that are on Earth did not get originated on this planet. They evolved and changed over time, but they didn't get originated here. There are always beings prepared and waiting for us to join them on these journeys. They're multidimensional, so that means that even though they're there to assist us to go on these journeys, there are other beings that join them, teachers that work at the U Expansion Ray Academy, and other beings that are with us, Galactic Alliance representatives, because it benefits them to go on these journeys, especially when we go into and above the void. These journeys always end us up in those realms which have no negative nature, which is our real natural state of being. We really don't have any negative nature. No human being. I'm not talking about human bodies now. But no being has a negative nature. They get surrounded in an electromagnetic field full of the past of all their lives and many experiences, some of them profoundly terrible and some profoundly wonderful, all mixed up. And it's through these collection of things, it's through them that we see the universe colored or distorted. When we try to look into the pure hue and remember how to go around the universe, travel to their planets, how to run spaceships, we all know how to do that, by the way. This is not new, it's old for all of you. Remembering that when you grow up on this planet is a tough one because the planet does not in any way encourage that kind of thinking, that kind of imagination. It doesn't encourage people to imagine other worlds except in science fiction movies, for instance. And those people get that imagination from other worlds. They just don't know they're doing it. They write feverishly on a paper, they create a screenplay or a book, but they don't understand who and what is part of them that is actually doing that, who and what is imagining. It's because people on Earth don't connect the dots there. Most people incorrectly assume that imagination is coming from their brain because so-called doctors and psychologists theorize. that it does. They can't prove it. They're not even sure what part of the brain imagination comes from. They can't prove that either. And the fact is, it doesn't come from the brain at all. So how are they supposed to fix problems that don't come from the brain if they only address the brain of a person? If they only address the personality they have in this lifetime, it's not going to work very well. I mean, you can get people to be positive thinking and imaginative thinking and stop dwelling on the negative. That helps. To get them to really recover what they've been made to forget, terrorized to forget, is why people don't remember, because it's too terrorizing to do it. So they have to be brought along in a way that gives them a sense of peace, a sense of security, a sense of protection, in order to let go of their fears that this, whatever happened to them, to put them on this earth, would happen to them again, because that is the programming of implants. And of course, it can't happen to anybody again. One of the things, and this is all telepathic, so it's all part of the journey. One of the things that this work has put out in this world for the first time, I don't think this was known millions of years ago, in cultures people don't even know existed on this planet. It may have been known in Lemuria for a short time before it was destroyed. And that's what the Atma looks like. It's on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book. You can't find it in any monastery in Tibet, on walls and hieroglyphics or anywhere else. Because once you start crossing paths with what you really are, you start becoming what you really are. And there are a lot of people who run the world today out of fear, and that's changing. They don't want people to know this kind of thing because they'll lose they're afraid what will happen to them and their power base if people wake up. So the influences that change this planet cannot be done from within the people on the earth to themselves. They are nowhere near high enough and remember enough in consciousness to change the negative direction they're heading things. Fear rules their lives, pretty much. Subconscious fear. That doesn't mean they're not nice people, they don't laugh and go to comedy clubs. It means that underneath it all, they're afraid to know. That's it. That's it in a nutshell right there. Some people in office right now in this country, for whatever reason, have changed dramatically, and they're making decisions based on common sense and not on fear. That's why this is what is being done. They're getting help. It's help that is not from this planet. Beginning disclosure is because they are encouraged in no uncertain terms to begin this process, or it'll be done around them, without them. So they want to be involved in that. This is a good thing. It's clear to anybody with common sense. If people want to play among the stars and meet our neighbors from this galaxy, then we have to be able to meet with them on a level playing field. We can't be operating from subconscious terror and go play among the stars and bring nuclear weapons out there and just do all kinds of abusive nonsense. You know, China's going to get the flag on the moon first. Well, they're not first anyway. Or Putin or Trump. There's no such thing as fighting over the spoils of outer space, which is the direction they're all heading in, or they think they're heading in. There's no such future. That kind of future doesn't exist out there because space is already occupied. We're all going to find that out soon enough on a planetary scale. It is the one and only way this planet will survive what it's going through. When you're lying down or in a chair and your eyes are closed, what has happened? Pardon me. What has happened is that the outer perceptions are shut down. That part of the brain is turned off like a switch. What opens up is the ability to see other realities, other places, other planets, how the dimensions, the multidimensional universe is constructed, all the way up to the void and the barrier between the upper realities and the lower planes of time and space. This is just common sense. Not for people on Earth yet, but it is common sense for most people outside of Earth. They understand the nature of the one living power that is that void of space, that is pure energy, that surrounds little galaxies that float in it on all the dimensional levels. Silent mentors are the guardians, are the mechanics of creation that, let's just say, they hold everything in place, run it. These are actual beings that run whole galaxies, doorways between dimensions. The void, there are beings who maintain the void. Satnam's realm, and he maintains that entire reality. The Hugh Expansion Ray Academy is maintained between the sixth governor, let's say, of the sixth plane and Satnam in the fifth. It is created in a special parallel dimension between the fifth and the sixth realms. And its purpose, its creation, was to make a place where beings could come and meet and rub shoulders, master teachers and students, and silent mentors. In this way, we begin to wake up to what we should be knowing. And even all the way down, we bring it back to our body on Earth. It changes our consciousness. It expands our ability to think outside the box of Earth. Earth is just a tiny little planet. Not even one of the bigger ones. People are so self-involved in themselves here. They can't see the forest from the trees. In order to know what they've been made to forget, they must travel. They must direct project. They must go out into the universe and explore. And that takes guidance, friendship, trust. And I don't mean trusting people on Earth, because for the most part, they can't be trusted. They don't even trust themselves. So this kind of energy moving into our solar system and into Earth now is designed to help people gradually recover what they're terrified to remember. And then all their other faculties just start turning on. The more we relax and drop fear, the faster things change. That's the way it is. Because the U expansion ray that's moving through this universe does not work with fear at all in any way, or any negative emotion. The couple, these two couples, Jean-Tial, Tonal-Tial, Don-Tiam, and Lam-Tiam from the Galactic Alliance, have many associates as well trained as them. And they serve on these journeys by keeping people's fears, like yours, whatever they might be, subconscious, from the past. Any fear of the present or future, much of which is not known consciously to you and most people, is turned off until it can be mastered by you. They keep it turned off so you can go on this journey and gain the most from the experience and bring that back to your consciousness on Earth without negative influence. That energy comes through your physical body, through the pineal gland, starts rearranging things on its way through you for your benefit, and then on its way to others for the benefit of others. I will not say who, but Chantil and Tonaltil are standing behind one of us. Don-Tiam and Lam-Tiam are standing behind one of you. And 3 other couples are standing behind. Well, they're there behind you. You get a feeling for them. They look similar to Chantil and Tonaltil. They're different. A little different hair maybe. A different face, but all handsome, beautiful as far as male and females. And you find yourself in the trance state called sleep. Well, your body is, which means you're really up above it. And you're looking down on it. This is simple imagination, which is you don't make up in your brain, as you know. It's the same thing you do when you want to go to the store, drive in the city. You imagine getting in the car, going to get coffee, and then your body follows where you imagine. But it's not the brain or personality of that body that's doing any of that. So if people on Earth were taught that that imagination could be used to look into the entire multidimensional universe and recover, and that's what this work is about. I'm going to send out the hue 5 times. Follow me with this. Do it yourself silently in the sanctuary of your own being. That's going to open a doorway through the pineal gland, the center of the body. The body's not involved per se, but it just opens a doorway. Almost like a electronic connection. And it is energy. And this means that you, the conscious spherical being hovering near the ceiling, looking down on that body, are projecting a physical, appearing human woman form, about 36, flawlessly beautiful. Me, I'm hanging around you guys, maybe outside your roofs up in the atmosphere, and I'm projecting a form about 36 that's flawlessly handsome, a man. These are prototypes. It's the way we originally started. This is how we show ourselves to each other. It is really the spherical Atma that is the unique nature of each being. The body form, the bodies on Earth will have let's just say a slightly similar appearance in some, what you would call genetics, but they really aren't the same. So you would use this prototype and superimpose it over whatever lifetime you've lived on, millions, even billions of worlds. And so this original prototype is partially responsible for making people who have intercourse and make babies take place, because it doesn't just happen biologically. The Atmas are involved energetically, or nothing would happen at all. And this is sad, because that's what people on Earth don't know anything about. They don't remember the first thing about any of this. And so they can't make correct decisions for their own well-being. That would be impossible. It's contradiction in terms. Common sense, making decisions from observing what is and not what is distorted, does not work with any negative nature. Higher faculties of the Atma do not work with matter, energy, space, and time, laws of physics, all that stuff. And behind it all, in reality, we are actually the masters of the lower worlds of time and space. And if you don't remember it, or you're afraid to remember it, then, of course, you're not a master of anything. It makes us subject to the influence of subconscious fear and trauma. And world leaders and religious leaders are all subject to the same fear. So you see the condition of the world and why it is like it is right now. This is changing, fortunately. Do the hue with me 5 times. So I'm using my vocal cords, but it's really not where the hue is coming from. Vocal cords are limited. When I hue and go up through all the tones to create a portal between the lower worlds of time and space and the void. I go beyond the range of human vocal cords a number of times after it stops, what you can hear. This couple hovering beside you as Atmas, and in their physical appearing forms, are very kind. They're not intruding in your mind or emotions or any of that. They're just keeping negative things in your energy field surrounding the Atma and around your body turned off with the sleeping body in the trance state we call sleep. A flash of light from this couple's thumbs, like Trillian holds up in space, because they're connected to Trillian, suddenly finds us in outer space. We won't go the slow way. We're doing direct projection. Now all you're doing is shifting your ability to see your body from the ceiling to seeing every one of us in space in a circle around Ambassador Trillian. Ramu is there towards the earth, Pelham further away, usually in the same position to keep things unconfusing for you all. The couple is beside each of us. We're standing in this wide circle, and there are other master teachers and even couples of master teachers from the Galactic Alliance in this circle, several dozen. Light C himself is standing in the circle on the other side of Trillian, opposite me. Et and Din are hovering above Trillian's head, and of course Trillian's this spherical Atma hovering above the 18-foot tall body he's showing us. That's his prototype. Because when they immortalized their bodies and basically put them away, this is how they looked. They had already long immortalized the physical body, so there was no disease or aging. But the immortalization they did took it a further step. So they don't have the need to have a body, or an astral body, or a causal body, or a mental body, or an etheric body. They're just who they are as the Atman. They manifest one on each of those planes if they need it, instantly, drawing from the power of the one force, the hue, and then carry out a mission or agenda. And then they put that body away. That's really how we're supposed to be living. That's a pretty lofty state of existence. It requires that we know life in the multidimensional universe. And it requires that we are consciously aware. And it requires that we are free from negative influences of the subconscious mind. In other words, that kind of living requires that we do not have a subconscious mind at all. Now, if other beings can go through this process, not intending to make it be compelled on everybody in the universe, they're just that much more involved. Because they've done it before us, it makes it easier for us to get into this when they do consider helping us, if they consider that at all. In space, the blackness of it that you'd see, or dark blue, whatever you think it is a white golden light, and it surrounds the Earth and the moon that has no atmosphere, and the sun, and billions of stars in our galaxy, and all the planets in it, and there are massive numbers, most of which are far, far more advanced than we are. People would obviously have to change in tremendous ways to play among the stars with such beings. We cannot take our little egos and our little power trips out there and impose our will on such beings, like people do on Earth. That won't work outside the atmosphere of Earth. It never will. So Earth and its people don't know this yet, but they'll never be a space-faring race until certain things are first accomplished here. Because people on Earth cannot be trusted. They don't even trust themselves. They make decisions based on fear. They're erratic, unreliable. It's just very dangerous. So, out here in space, Reptilian has his two thumbs up. There's a golden white light around each like a small sphere of light. It's brighter than the hue in space. When you look above them, you see Atma did with their tails glowing. The Atma's above them, and above them, you see two couples. They are silent mentors. They've never done this before, in my knowledge, in the entire history of the multidimensional creation, where they've come down and appeared to escort a group of beings anywhere. It's just never happened before. And that is because of the work that's going on in the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. So they are man and woman alternating, and they're to each side just standing below Satnam. You know what Satnam looks like. He shows us what he wants us to see. The couple has long hair to their shoulders, different color for each person. Male, female, male, female. Single pastel gown on, kind of like a sheer form-fitting dress. That's dress, like a gown, I guess. Bare feet. Different colored skin, each one of them. Different colored hair. Human looking appearance, like Satnam shows. And this spherical Atma above them that's 4 times bigger than us and twice as many teardrop-shaped faculty levels than we have. They're there to demonstrate our potential. They are running the Hue Expansion Ray through themselves, which is how we live and move around the universe. And the consciousness in the Hue Expansion Ray is different now. And it moves through us, through Reptilian. And we pick up on it. Gradually, eventually, the Atma that we are goes through, I guess you could call it a kind of an initiation. In which case, other teardrops are brighter or different colors added or more layers, etc. There is a type of evolution an Atma can go through, but it's not like physical or lower plane dimensional evolution at all. It doesn't happen in time and space. Up above him is a pale golden white light vortex. It's already been at least established by them. Turning clockwise, hourglass shape, quite large, goes up beyond physical space. Just disappears the further up in space it goes. But inside it, looking up the funnel, like looking up a tornado, you can see a pale, brilliant, pale blue luminous atmosphere all the way up on the other end. That's the void. We have to get there this way, or it will take us forever to go through each plane one at a time. And since we're not primarily interested in the astral, cosmal, mental, or etheric per se, you have bodies you're running there, they're fine. But however, all the body forms you have in those planes are in the trance state called sleep, just like your body is. Because it is you, the Atma, that is going on the journey. The sound around us in the physical universe has a universal tone to it. It's like a deep, soft, rumbling, humming, like almost like thunder. No lightning. It's a universal sound the Hue makes in the physical universe dimensions. Higher tones for each parallel dimension, but when it gets to the astral plane, it changes to the sound of what an ocean gentle wave, like a beautiful blue-green wave crashing smooth and clean along a diamond-like beach. That sound is the universal sound of the astral plane. We get into the causal, which we're not going to. It's more like running water over brooks, over stones. You get up in the mental plane, it's more of millions of bees or humming like bagpipes, and is more of a, I don't want to call it an electrical sound because that's too coarse. And all these sounds are uplifting. You get into the etheric, it's like really like millions of bees. Or it can be little glass chimes, somebody pinging them with a little felt mallet, ringing. There's a tone to it. The sound that comes from above that in the upper realities, at least for the Atma plane, is more like the single note of a flute. Very pure. If you place the hue, universal hue, down each plane below the void, as it goes into coarser molecular time rates for each plane, the tone changes. But we're always going to see it as a white golden light. So now, out here in space, the couple beside each of you is from the Galactic Alliance. They are stationed on the Emerald Star Cruiser, hovering in the ice rings that make up the rings that surround the planet Saturn. They are out of their bodies. Their bodies are on the ship in the trance state called sleep. Are they going with us for one purpose? To assist us, but also to go to the Hue Expansionary Academy and explore, respecting more life than they even knew. Because they can bring that back with them when they return and telepathically give the experience to the entire galactic interdimensional alliance of free world beings, planets, star systems, and all that stuff. It's a great boon for us because without their help, we ain't going to make it. Life on Earth would end again, and then it'd have to be recolonized. It's happened many times. So this is different. Now, when you're standing in this circle in space, you can feel all this and see all this around you. It doesn't matter if you see it as clear as when you open your eyes and see a glass of water in front of you, because people have not been taught to allow the crystal clarity of the inner vision of the Atma to superimpose itself over the limited nature of consciousness of the human body. That fear that's in there needs to be broken up. But understand that the Atma is seeing everything clearly. Each one of you is seeing what I'm sharing with you. Whether you allow yourself to know it or admit it, you are. You're an Atma. Whether you can bring that back to your body on Earth yet or not, that's another matter. But you are having the experience, and this is what's important. I'm going to send out the hue now. Do it with me. Look at that vortex and watch it light up one layer at a time. There's a blue-green luminous liquid light around. It's very soft, but it's going to intensify in brilliance as we send out the hue. So we are collectively co-creating with Satnam, Torellian, the silent mentor couples, Etin, Din, Ramu, and Opalam, Jantiel, Tontiel, Dantiel, Lamtiel, and other master teachers over here. So we're doing it together. And that way we have a part, co-creatively, in where we go and what we do. I'll begin the tones now. You You. 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 Now I've gone beyond the vocal cords. The vocal cord sound is something you can focus on, but we're really not sending out these tones from our bodies anyway. And you'll notice that that vortex is lit up very bright now. There's a sound, there's a pale pastel golden white light coming down through it, almost like a cylinder, just very soft, flowing down like a river, right through Satnam, through the four silent mentors, right through Etendin, through Turelian out his closed fist, and then there's this golden transparent sphere of light like the hull of a spaceship which has appeared around us so that we can all collectively go in the positions we're in where we're going. As we start to move up towards that opening, because Satnam is beginning to move up into it, the whole scene suddenly changes. In a flash of white golden light, we find ourselves hovering space above the planet Oceana. It's located on the other side of the Milky Way Galaxy. 3 parallel dimensions of the physical universe up from where planet Earth is. Still in the physical universe, but remember the universe is multidimensional in nature, just like we are. So ask yourself, who is holding together the entire creation besides the silent mentors? And then reflect on this. The white core of your being is the pure hue expansion ray itself now. The next layer, which is more of a yellow golden light, and all the teardrops in it, is the next layer. It becomes more orange, and then red, and then green, and then blue, and violet, and lavender. And all these layers have functionality connected to each of the planes. So in a way, since we originated the source, we are collectively co-creating, maintaining the creation. Each of those levels around the Atma are higher faculties of co-created being with source itself. This is not changed. This isn't new. When you look down on Oceana, it's 4 times bigger than Earth. It's all water covered, beautiful, mostly blue, a little bit of green. The ocean's glowing. It's calm. There's a couple islands near the equator. 3 planets the size of Earth with no polarized caps. They orbit this planet at different distances. These 3 worlds, their moons and the planet Oceana itself, orbit around a trinary star system. Remember, I've shared with all of you many times that most of the stars in the galaxy, unlike Earth, are binary or trinary, 2 or 3 suns orbiting around each other, planets orbiting them. So the higher forms of genetic life, such as advanced human DNA, 4-stranded and others, evolve on trinary planetary systems. This is not new to any of you. You come from them originally. So you recover more of who you are. You begin to remember your lives that are important when you're part of the Galactic Alliance. In 500,000 years, how many lives do you think you had out there before you found yourself stuck on this rock, planet Earth, with no memory? A lot. No one comes to Earth voluntarily to have all their memories stripped from them and be dumber than a post as some kind of contract with God. No. No one in their right consciousness would ever do that. Which means people on Earth ended up here with no memory because something else happened that put them here. And yes, behind it all, going down through billions of years, they had some responsibility in this. Our purpose for existing, hovering above planet Oceana, and the white golden light of the U coming through the vortex, which is high above Satnam, up above planet Oceana. Now, we've just moved it from one point in the galaxy to another. Easy stuff. You find yourself walking on luminous golden sand, looking at these beautiful jungle trees that are glowing. They have a certain amount of charge in the water and the trunk and the sap. You can see these 3 planets in daytime sky, different positions across the heavens. You can see the 3 suns out in space at different positions across the heavens. From standing on this island, one of the central islands, and inland you can see the top curve of a transparent clear dome in a clearing within the jungle. There are 3 golden-sided quartz-capped pyramids inside that dome. The description of what these cities look like is clearly laid out in the Emerald Doorway book. And we rise up above the beach. Pardon me. You look into the distance around Reptilian, you can see there are other domes in this jungle. And you can see a spherical tube, luminous blue, connecting them through the jungle. And cars darting down there near the speed of light, just very fast in a blur. And then you see a tube come out of the jungle. It goes right down the beach and down into the ocean. A car stops right there, just instantly stops, and we see it's maybe 15 feet, 20 feet long, like 2 ends of a quartz crystal faceted with a clear dome, and there are people sitting in white chairs or, it's kind of strapped inside this thing, facing each other, men and women who are Oceanan, blue skin, emerald green eyes, dark black hair. And then the car blurs into light down this tube and goes all the way down the bottom of Oceana's ocean. In a flash of light, we follow it all the way to the bottom of this tube, which runs down the side of a mountain much taller than Everest. And there's a dome city that this tube connects to in the bottom of the ocean. It's lighting up, the lights coming from it are lighting up the ocean floor. Tubes extend from many directions around this dome city and go off into the depths of the ocean to connect other domes. The majority of the Oceanan living spaces are under the ocean. Not all. These beings can breathe underwater or on land. And yet, the ancient history and genetics, which Terrelling is telling you about, and Opalum's telling you telepathically, means that even though their stranded DNA is double ours, they're capable of mating with us and us with them. Not that they'd want to, or, anyway, with people on Earth the way they are. But the Say rays, as Terrellian is sharing with you, while we're in this bubble of gold, this oval light, watching this dome in front of us at the bottom of the ocean, he tells you that the Say rays had a hand in developing these different body forms over a long period of time that became Oceana, Reptilian, gray, tall, white, Nordic, some people call them Pahshats, lion-type people, all kinds of human and humanoid people, most of which are not represented on Earth, by the way. And then the Say race vanished for quite some time. They wanted to see what we'd do with it. They brought these races up to spacefaring capability several billion years ago, a long time ago. And then, if you think of Earth as an example, you can see what we did with it. Not a pretty picture. Because when they were set free on their own without the Sayra's influence, there was nobody at war with anybody. It's a good thing that the Sayrays and other beings have come back into the realm of influencing life on Earth, because it is their more mature responsibility to look after the younger races. At least that's what they're doing now. When you look to the left, you can see a huge volcanic chute. If you know what a lava tube looks like. It came out of the molten core hundreds of millions of years ago and actually fed the growing of the islands that are up on the surface. But these are hollowed chambers. And Eta and Din, hovering above Turelian inside this oval golden light, disappear, and they appear in this curved, how do you call it, semi-spherical convex dome window in the side of this chamber. They're in their living room waving at you. The few of us find ourselves in their living room surrounding them, including Turelian. And Turelian, 18 feet tall in one form, he simply stands right through the room out in the ocean. He doesn't bother him at all. Then we find ourselves on a marble floor. And we are inside this volcanic chamber, which is miles and miles in length, hugely tall and wide. And all the matter was volcanically eliminated from these tubes of ancient times. And Eta and Din are hovering in front of us. In the distance, you can see what looks like a blue-green river coming out of a cavern opening, flowing down into a long, oval blue-green lake. And way down at the other end of this, you can see it drops down an opening. It's recycled here. Up on the cavern walls, we're in the back of this volcanic chute. This is the central Vren city of On, and you can see these convex, curved outward, semi-spherical clear domes all over the walls, and there's their individual Dren dwellings. There are many other Drens hovering around us to greet us. Young ones, children, adults, older ones, hovering 4 feet off the ground with their tails glowing, telepathically greeting us to their home. This is where Eta and Din hang their hat. This is where their bodies you're seeing here are actual physical bodies. The ones they show us on the journey look the same age because they have immortalized bodies and they are master teachers. And we find ourselves in space, in a circle around Turelian, below this beautiful interdimensional vortex we helped create earlier. A flash of golden white light from Turelian's thumbs places us in a sphere, this oval energy field, darting up into it like a spaceship. And Satnam is simply vanishing way up inside it. So we follow it. The silent mentors, the couples, are beside them. The next thing we know, we're out the other end, hovering in this pale blue, luminous nature. Everywhere you look, there's nothing here but this luminous light. It's a pure hue. The vortex below us vanishes. And we are moving upward until we begin to come to a white, sandy, diamond-like beach. And Satnam is hovering above the trees in the back of the jungle. You can see the beach extends as far as you can see it in each direction. Immediately here in this pure hue, the upper end of the void, that realm, that land, is the beginning of the Atma plane where Satnam dwells. He's hovering above the jungle trees, which are every kind of tree you can think of, but they're transparent. There's energy moving up and down the branches. There are birds, hundreds of them, beautiful, coming up, lining up in rows and singing. Long V-shaped split tails, rainbow-colored feathers, millions of colors, beautiful big blue eyes. They look like a blue jay, but they're twin sets of bird wings, and they're hovering there like a hummingbird. And they are singing these tones of the hue. You look at the energy coming from their mouths, and it's blending into the pale blue luminosity of the void. They're actually maintaining it. There are beautiful Atmas, bigger than ours, hovering above these birds. They're more of associates of the silent mentors, silent ones. Then Satnam disappears over the top of the jungle, and we follow him. The silent mentors are still to each side of him. And so we're going up above the blue stone, snow-covered mountain range. We're traveling over the top of the mountain range and going into the countryside on the other end. In the distance, you can see vast, millions of acres of blue and violet and green, radiant grasses, beautiful forests surrounding like blue-green fir trees, luminous. And you can see there's human and humanoid and Pahshat type, lion-like people, and all kinds of, there's a big, beautiful green grass field. And we're heading down towards it, but in the distance, you'll notice that way in the distance, there is an ocean of light surrounding this land. And part of it would have like a green ocean. Then it becomes a blue ocean. And then it becomes an orange or a yellow ocean or red or violet. So way out at the end, there are places to explore in the Atma plane. And we're coming down to land on this grass. There's a fountain out in the middle of this field. And we're surrounding it. Trellian is standing beside it. The silent mentors are hovering above it. And it looks like a Christmas tree. The white golden light flowing up to a point and down. And then there's a pale blue luminosity coming down into it. So the fountain's flowing up and flowing down. Has scalloped blue stoned edges, scalloped. And there's a certain energy coming from it that is moving through all of us. Surrounding us are many, many other beings from all over the dimensions and the lower worlds of time and space represented here. Flawlessly handsome, flawlessly beautiful, but not all human. So in this particular place, to give you an idea of what kinds of things can be explored in Satnam's realm, we're experiencing an energy coming through this fountain from source. It's passing through the fountain and into each of us, through the Atmas hovering above the forms we show these other beings, men and women, male and female. A lot of mammals of different kinds. Some you recognize from Earth and some you don't. All of them have vocal cords. All of them have Atmas hovering above them. All of them are greeting you telepathically. Find yourself wandering in this grass, going up to, say, this beautiful violet-colored mammal, almost like a horse. It's got 8 legs, a long neck and beautiful big eyes and long ears. And it's a couple. Another one of you will be approached by Pahshats, meaning 9 foot tall, lion-like manes and hair, 2 arms, 2 legs, retractable claws, very great friends of humanity. All you do is go up and hug them. Remember, there's no negative nature you can bring here. No one can bring anything of a negative nature here. There are several reptilians, a male and a female, but their skin is smooth and green. It's not scaly. They have the red slits and violet eyes, but their energy is wonderful. This is their original prototype form. The atmosphere hovering above them is very bright. Some of you will go up and hug these, and they'll hug you back. They'll stoop down and hug you and tell you how delighted they are to meet you. What we're bringing back, why we're going here, is so we can bring back this true nature of our being with the nature, true nature of other beings, so that when we go out in the universe and we go on these journeys, we can truly respect all life. It is required of us that we respect all life in the grand multidimensional creation. It is required. Because without it, you cannot wake up fully, cannot become a co-creator with Source. It's very simple. So we have to go to a place where no negative nature exists, so that will rub off on us. We can't get it on Earth. It's not there. We have to go out in the galaxy and many worlds in the Galactic Alliance to find this kind of energy running through their planetary systems. Whenever you're on a planet where the oceans glow, you know you're in a proper, normal planet. Earth is not. So up here, you find yourself with some birds, huge. They're like a condor, like radiant, beautiful, multicolored wings, and they come down and they land on the ground. They're like 6, 7 feet tall. These are big birds. Beautiful Atma hovering above them. They're not from Earth. There's a planet where these beings actually run the planet. They're scientists, they're engineers. They have dexterous fingers on their claws. You just have to look. They're not like Earth birds. And they sing beautiful sounds. Some of you will be brave enough. I'm going to go up and hug the couple. I'm going to just hug the heck out of them. And then watch what happens. Each one of you, hovering in front of one of these beings, whether it's reptilian or Pahshat or Atma or a human, humanoid, bird, mammal, watch the Atma that you are and the Atma they are move into each other. Merge right inside each other. Instantly you know what it is to be like them. The love they have for families, the love they have for their life, the wisdom, the mastery they have here. And you get to experience what they are like. You get to experience what it's like flying in their body. They get to experience what it is running a human body that you have. And then the two Atmas separate. And you are changed permanently. This is taking place in the pure hue in Satnam's realm. It cannot be reversed. When you look up in this pale blue, this brilliant cobalt blue atmosphere that surrounds Satnam's realm, the next one up is the Hue Expansion Ray Academy. We're not going there this time. The vortex that we created together is still above us, disappearing in the heights beyond the Atma plane. That vortex now connects to an energy that is it looks like a fiery realm, blue and red and green and moving energy, just swirling around. The Trillian's a flash of light from his thumbs, and we are all transported directly to find ourselves floating in this fiery energy. We're safe. No harm will come to us. This is the raw power of the eternity of the hue that this being who's approaching us, Agam Purusha, wields. It's like a big generator. He can send parts of it down here and over there and up that way. And so you might say his presence is in behind all energy in the multidimensional creation. Play here, talk with Agam Purusha, this big spherical being, and I will be right back. I'm back with you. Gives you a moment to have your own conversations. Maybe ask a question of Pahshats. In the distance, you can see in this fiery energy a huge silver golden tree. Massive like a fir tree, just roots going down visible into the light, disappearing in this fiery light, like it's growing out of this fiery light. And now the top of the tree extends further upward until you can't see the end of it. The trunk of the tree is a golden white light running through it. It's transparent. Pahshats, it's required that we get permission from him in order to proceed into that tree and be transported to the next level. The next level is the ocean of sound and light, prime creator, the source itself. This is where we all originally came from, so it shouldn't be so surprising that you're about to go back into it now. As a group around Reptilian, I'm standing by his side now. Lightsey is on his other side. And we're moving into the trunk of this tree, right through the needles and the branches. We just pass right through them. And as you pass through them, our energy connects with each little needle. And each needle has a picture of a planet or a place or a field or somewhere in the multidimensional creation. This is called the Tree of Life. All life is represented in this tree. Consider it a type of super cosmic device. It is maintained by the silent mentors, like all doorways between dimensions. You'll see these four people, these two couples, moving upward. And you can see their right hands out, all four of them. There's an energy of a golden white light coming from their hands. It's actually lighting up this tree. They're just showing you something. Pardon me. And we find ourselves on the other side of this tree in a mystic realm. The cobalt blue light here is brighter than anything below. It's everywhere. We are this oval, golden, transparent sphere of light around us, Reptilian's maintaining, and I'm helping him do it. And we're moving in between individual, what looked like at first like stars, like the stars of a galaxy turning around a central hub. And they're bright, and there's a bulge like a galaxy, but in the center it's hollow. As we move as a group between each of these, what we thought were stars, we can now see that they're brilliant Atmas. And as we pass between them, heading towards this void, this white island in the center, you hear the sound of this flute, so enchanting, playing a hauntingly beautiful melody. I would sing it for you now, but I'm a little struggling with the voice, so we won't do that. And it's drawing us like bees drawn to the nectar of a flower. And we move through these beings, billions of them, effortlessly. And then we come into this void, and we're suddenly hovering in front of this circular white island, glowing. And hovering above it is a massive Atma, just huge. Thousands of layers of teardrop lights, white core. This is Source, Prime Creator. It is not a being on a throne. Forget that idea. It does not have to pay attention to the minutiae, tiny details of our lives when somebody prays over food or anything like that. It doesn't involve itself with us this way. It's only interested in one thing, you, the Atma, returning. And then we find ourselves as a group moving between these individual teardrops, which now it seems are wider apart than our whole group. And we move inside the white core. All of the forms we had are gone. human-looking forms. It's just the spherical Atmas, all of us. And we're hovering within the white core of Source. The white core in each of us is identical to the white core of Source. This becomes immediately apparent. And then you hear its deep, melodious voice, almost like a baritone, but I don't want to call it angelic because it's much further away than those realities. And it has a feminine quality to it, too. It's very hard to describe. And it welcomes you home. Because the energy of the Source is moving through us, made of exactly the same thing as individuals. Understand that it is not an individual. It is a nexus, a focal point where all beings in all creation, all atoms over all forms come together. And here, this form of energy can speak with us. But it is not an individual. If you have a question to ask it, you probably won't be motivated to ask a question here because here we just know. Now we know this is where, actually, when you look out from this core, you see that you are hovering out there amongst those billions of what you thought were stars. And you're still there. You never left. So you're still here, but you're also running bodies on the lower planes of time and space. How interesting. Another flash of golden white light finds us in space around Reptilian outside of planet Earth. And then the Earth changes right in front of us. It becomes just like Earth, no polar ice caps, big continent from the left to the right hemisphere. Golden letters that say Lemriel appear on the surface and come into space and dissolve between us. There's another continent on the other side, 2/3 its side. And it says Atma, and that comes up and flows between us. Down the southern, near the southern pole, where this big continent, there's an upward curved half-moon J-shaped, glowing green emerald sandy beach. Inland from there, in the jungle, from space, we can see a single snow-covered mountain. There's a big dome covering 3 golden-sided pyramids with quartz crowns off to the left third. An oval, luminous blue-green lake, half spherical shaped, a semi-spherical mountain range, miniature mountain range, little tunnels coming out of the sides and this forming little rivers that pour into this lake. It's recycled here. You can see all this from space. Pelham tells you that he hangs his hat here quite often. Reptilian comes here. I go there. There's the Internamus couple often come here. Silent mentors visit here. Galactic Alliance personnel come here. In that mountain, you can see a cavern opening just above an opening where the waterfall pours down out of an opening. It flows straight down a sheer cliff face, luminous blue-green light, and disappears between a radiant blue forest like that surrounds the dome. And up above it is this oval tunnel with semi-spherical domes up, and that connects, that tunnel, it goes through an interdimensional transition from the third higher parallel dimension of Earth, where this is, and the Earth where you're familiar with. It goes into the hollowed-out interior. An opening is there in Mount Shasta in Northern California. This has been there for a very long time. That base has been there since 1908. But we're not going there. You look at the beach and you find that you're suddenly wiggling your bare toes in this emerald green sand. It's glowing about a foot above the beach. The beach is just miles long, curved. Reptilian's standing up to his knees in this blue-green, luminous ocean water that is calm, glowing. He got his 2 thumbs up, and he's still here with us. And all of you are spread out along this beach, and many others, not just the 5 of us. And you'll notice that the Internamus couple, which are 10 feet tall with silver-like hair, violet eyes, beautiful, longer necks, longer fingers, longer torsos, etc., are standing on the beach with us. And the woman who has her palms out is emanating a beam of this green light, and it's spread out along the beach, charging it. So this tells you that this is a gift from the Zentranamus. And this green energy that flows up your legs and out the top of your head and into the white core of your being is there to help you to bring this back to your life on Earth for one reason. It helps get beyond the blocks and fears so that you can begin to remember your lives in the multidimensional creation below the void. Billions of them. What matters in remembering any of that is only the good ones, because in the end, only negative experiences are erasable after whatever you've learned from them has been accomplished. Reptilian smiles at you. There's a flash of light, and we find ourselves in space. Still, where we started the journey, the vortex is still far above Reptilian. And you see Earth as the polar ice caps, ocean, landmass, barren moon, doesn't turn on its axis as it orbits the Earth, the sun, but the white golden light of the hue is everywhere surrounding everything. In space you can see the big blue giant suns, the young ones, big yellow ones, thousands of times bigger than ours, smaller yellow ones, big red giants and little red dwarfs. It's clearly visible in this other light. Then you find yourself on Earth, hovering above your body near the ceiling. The couple is still beside you. The white golden light of the hue we brought back with us is moving down through the ceiling, through the Atma you are, through these beings protecting you, and down through your body. It goes into your electromagnetic field people call the aura. It passes through us for our benevolent good and continues onward through the walls of your home for the good of others, particularly on Earth. It connects to 3 pyramids, 2 at the bottom of Earth's deepest oceans with a statue of Satnam in it, standing in a fountain. It's a device. And there are 2, one in the Atlantic, one in the Pacific, and one in a hollowed interior of a mountain in the Himalayas. And then it's beamed out into space. It connects to an even bigger pyramid. It is floating in space between 2 stable asteroids that are locked in place with it. And that moves in orbit around the sun in the astrofield that once was a planet between Mars and Jupiter. It's beamed from there to the center of the galaxy. Goes up what people used to call a black hole because they couldn't see it. They thought it was black. It goes up this white golden shaft of light and goes right to source, to the heart of the white core of Prime Creator, where we just visited. It never stops moving. Passes through us for our good and continues on through us for the good of all life. We're back. When you're ready, open your eyes. If you can wake up and come back, you can turn on your mics. I'm going to bring this recording to a close.